The following program, NORML Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting norml.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belville.
Good afternoon, tokers and tokettes. It is Thursday, October 21st, 2010, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Thanks for joining us for the next 60 minutes of news, talk, interviews, information, music, comedy, and more by, for, and about the cannabis community. We're coming to you live and direct from Rolla J Studios in beautiful Potland, Oregon, and we're flying the ship solo today. Ganja John is still out recovering from his kidney transplant, and Cannabis Carrie is out today helping her friend with her last chemotherapy treatment that she has to do for her cancer treatment. So absolutely great news, and thank you, Cannabis Carrie, for taking care of your friend. She may call in later on in today's show. Today's show is pretty packed. We've got all sorts of data as we're winding up on just a few days left before we vote for legalization in California, medical marijuana in Arizona and South Dakota, dispensaries in Oregon. So we get all the updates coming up. First, we're going to talk about women and marijuana with the great new photo shoot courtesy of Pot Couture and the NORML Women's Alliance. Some sad news about one of our favorite women activists. We've got the latest in Prop 19 polls and some important analysis you need to hear about. A terrible story about the police in South Dakota electioneering against the medical marijuana initiative, and a great new radio ad for Measure 74, the dispensary measure in my home state of Oregon. Also coming up on today's show, it is Groovin' Thursday, so we get to visit with John Doe from John Doe Radio, who brings us the best in hip-hop, rap, R&B music on our Groovin' Thursdays. Today's song comes to us from Splinta. And at 1:30, we visit our Southern California scene with Terry Joyce from America's Last Comic Standing show. Also, she brings Mike Tucker on today's show as a special guest to talk about legalization in California. And at the end of the show, a radical rant about one of the women in marijuana reform who I'm not very fond of. My thoughts on Dragonfly de la Luz at the end of the show. So stick around. It's going to be a good one here. NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation. Check us out at stash.norml.org for all the latest updates, videos, and downloads for the podcast and all of our daily toker tunes. We'll be right back after this. Stick around. The news is next.
You're listening to NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
There is a peaceful solution called a peace revolution. And now let's take back America.
Hi, this is Willie Nelson. Like millions of freedom-loving Americans, I'm a marijuana smoker, and I don't think that should be any of the government's business. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana. The next time you light up, take the time to let your elected officials know how you feel. It's time we legalize marijuana and stop treating marijuana smokers like criminals. For more information on how you can help legalize marijuana, please contact NORML at NORML.org.
This a kite, everybody!
This drug in front of me is what they call marijuana.
If we had a dime for every dime bag bought in America, marijuana would be legal by now. Donate to NORML at NORML.org and support NORML Show Live.
I'm going to light.
Roll a big fatty. Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's NORML News with Cannabis Carrie.
Cannabis Carrie is off today. I'm Radical Russ. The NORML Women's Alliance and Pot Couture present Women for Prop 19. For decades, the image of the cannabis consumer could be found in male-dominated stereotypes like Cheech and Chong, Jeff Spicoli, and Harold and Kumar. Pot smokers in movies and TV are almost always cast as young slacker males and burnt-out old hippies. The rare moments when women in marijuana have been portrayed, the women are portrayed in relation to pot-smoking men, such as girlfriends on That 70s Show, or as naked ganja-covered sex objects, see any number of web or print ads in the cannabisphere, or as the prey of oversexed minority males driven to lust by the demon reefers. The NORML Women's Alliance was formed to break those stereotypes. The alliance was founded by women who aren't ashamed to admit their cannabis use and who believe that changing the image of cannabis consumers to include successful professional women, mothers, and daughters is one key to ending the prohibition of marijuana that devastates women and families. Some key facts. In the decade following the advent of mandatory minimum sentencing for drugs, the incarceration of women increased 888%. Over half the women prosecuted in federal courts are low-level drug couriers who then suffer outrageously long mandatory minimum sentences because they have no one higher up to snitch on. Pregnant women often forego important neonatal and birth care because of hospitals that will report them to police to arrest them for positive drug tests and take away their babies. Plus, this effect is much more pronounced for women of color. A black child is 9 times more likely, and a Latino child is 3 times more likely to have a parent behind bars. Pot Couture is a magazine created by Pepper and Margot, 2 so-called lady stoners who also felt it was time for better representation of females in the cannabis culture. The phenomenon that begun with a Marie Claire article called Stiletto Stoners has now truly reached the mainstream, with outlets like NBC's Today Show and most recently Salon.com reporting on women's support for marijuana law reform. This is, of course, a welcome development in marijuana law reform. For way too long, it has been dominated mostly by white males like myself. The photo on the webcam we're showing you is from the recent Pot Couture fashion photo layout and features women who are unafraid to admit their cannabis use. From left to right, we have NORML Women's Alliance coordinator Sabrina Fendrick, Pot Couture's Margot and Pepper, Leap's Shailene Tidal, NORML New Jersey Executive Director Ann Davis, Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey's Diane Fornbacher-Wall, and Nashville musician Greta Gaines. We thank them so much for standing up and providing such a wonderful, professional, and attractive portrayal of women in cannabis. Now, also speaking of women standing up for marijuana law reform, we have a short video here. Women have been standing out and doing Mothers for Prop 19 and Women for Prop 19 video reports on news stations all across the country. We bring you this one from the Associated Press.
We, as mothers here today, represent countless California moms who feel the same way, and we're ready to stand up and be counted on Proposition 19 on November 2nd. Please vote yes on 19 for the kids.
I'm an attorney and a mother of 2. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I am supporting Proposition 19.
And when I think about what kind of world I'd like my children to grow up in, that they grow up in a world with marijuana being legal and controlled and not this out-of-control system that we have today. So it may be counterintuitive, but legalizing marijuana would be safer for our children.
The local communities largely appreciate the opportunity to decide whether or not to control, regulate, and tax either cannabis for only medical use, cannabis perhaps for adult use, or for our rural communities, our agricultural communities, hemp for industrial use and enjoy the taxes and agriculture jobs created by that.
If you don't want it anywhere near your kids, then move to another universe because it's near our kids now. We've tried the drug war for four decades now, and we've tried banning marijuana for 75 years, and it does not work to reduce the amount of use. It makes our communities more unsafe because it diverts resources that could be used for actual harms to public safety, paying for our crumbling educational and other institutions.
And it's time to have that honest conversation. This is an adult issue, just like alcohol. There's a time and a place for everything. It's called college.
In other sad news, a longtime marijuana advocate Michelle Rainey has passed away from her battle with cancer, unfortunately. As reported by the Vancouver Sun, Rainey, who was a longtime associate of Mark Emery, passed away today. Going to the news story here in the Vancouver Sun, she had lived with Crohn's disease since a teenager and in the last years of her life struggled against melanoma and lymphatic cancer. Her husband, Jeff Tech, and mother, Emily, were at her side, each holding a hand when she succumbed Wednesday night in spite of last-ditch, high-dosage experimental cannabis treatment. The 39-year-old Rainey was the organizational force behind Mark Emery's pot-based business empire, although their relationship deteriorated and they split after being hit with a 2005 U.S. drug and money laundering indictment for which Mark Emery gave himself up and surrendered for 5 years of imprisonment in the United States. Producing her own show on YouTube titled Michelle's Medicinal Marijuana, distributing cannabis education packages to those who are in need, and being a director for Treating Yourself magazine, she was a tenacious proselytizer for the plant and its therapeutic properties. Rainey and Emery met in 1998 while he was living on the Sunshine Coast and she was working in a Gibson's bank. She quit work to become his partner. Together, they've established the British Columbia Marijuana Party and opened a bookstore that turned pot headquarters on West Hastings Street. In the 2001 provincial election, theirs was the first political party in provincial history to field candidates in every riding, 79 in all. Rainey ran in Peace River South, operating out of the Alaska Hotel in Dawson's Creek. She managed to get U.S. President Ronald Reagan's old campaign tour bus, nicknamed it the Cannabus, and toured the province with then-party leader Brian Taylor, now mayor of Grand Forks. The party captured more than 50,000 votes, 3.2%, all funded by Emery's multi-million-dollar-a-year catalog seed business. She joked that she worked at Emery's beck and call, be it lining up candidates, coordinated seed smuggling trips by Pretty Woman back and forth to Europe, or storing up to 40 pounds of pot for the parties. Their economic success and celebrity, however, attracted the attention of the American drug warriors, and they were busted. She and a third co-accused, Greg Williams, pleaded guilty in April and were sentenced to 2 years probation. Last month, Emery began serving a 5-year prison sentence in the United States. Mark Emery said in an email from jail, quote, "Michelle needs to be recognized as one of the greatest activists this movement has ever had. Michelle may have literally given her life to the movement, and when people think about what they can do for freedom in their lifetime, Michelle's life is a shining example of how much is possible, even under great duress." All of us here at NORML offer our condolences to the family and friends of Michelle Rainey. Important new polling coming out from the Prop 19 campaign in California. The latest Public Policy Institute poll shows Prop 19 trailing in the latest results of the poll by a margin of 49 to 44. But it's very important as we look at these polls exactly what we have found. The PPIC poll is all over the place with a movement of somewhere around 12 points, or a 16-point change, over the past few weeks. The latest, the last time PPIC did this poll, it was ahead 52 to 41, and now they find it down 49 to 44. In other polling that we look at, though, from the Survey USA, we find Survey USA polling to be far more consistent across the board and showing support for Prop 19. We are seeing also in the robo-polls that people who are contacted in robo-polls are far more likely to support the measure, indicating a possible effect of people wishing to say no when asked by a human, but say yes when asked in anonymity. It is hoped that the anonymity of the voting booth will lead more people to cast a yes vote for Prop 19. Analysis at justsaynow.com through their bloggers John Walker and Michael Whitney also point out that youth turnout will be key in passing Prop 19 in California. It is shown in the polls that the voters who are least likely to vote are also those most likely to support marijuana law reform and Prop 19 in specific. So it is important that we all talk to all of our young friends in California and insist that they make sure they get out to vote for Prop 19. The South Dakota Highway Patrol is accused of electioneering against medical marijuana. It certainly looks like South Dakota's Highway Patrol is interfering with the state's medical marijuana ballot initiative, which is in a tight race ahead of the November 2nd vote. The campaign Measure 13, South Dakota's medical marijuana initiative, called out the state highway patrol for a big media push last week around 2 separate marijuana busts from August that the patrol tied to out-of-state medical marijuana patients. Quote, the South Dakota Coalition for Compassion is crying foul about a news release from the South Dakota Department of Public Safety regarding medical marijuana seized in traffic stops. The coalition thinks the department released information about a 100-pound bust in August only to smear their campaign for the passage of initiated Measure 13 on Election Day. The measure would legalize medical marijuana in the state. The release was issued Thursday. Quote, the announcement by the Highway Patrol was self-evidently a political maneuver by bureaucrats who have a stake in stopping Measure 13, end quote, said Tony Ryan, a retired police officer who works for the coalition. Now, there is no other reason to sit on this 2-month-old news and drop it 2 weeks before the election. While state agencies can't openly engage in politics, the patrol is in the clear because it didn't specifically mention the initiative. State agencies are not permitted to campaign for or against ballot questions, Secretary of State Chris Nelson said, but the Highway Patrol release is legal because it doesn't mention Measure 13. Emmett Reistroffer, head of the Coalition for Compassion, said the release is another example of law enforcement misinterpreting Measure 13. He said the measure contains safeguards against the problems other states have had with medical marijuana. Law enforcement is worried about losing the ability to seize assets in drug cases, and pharmacies are concerned about losing customers, he said. Measure 13 is in a tough race. Polls show it's neck and neck for medical marijuana in South Dakota. When medical marijuana was last up for a vote in the state in 2006, it lost by just 15,000 votes, or 4%. Please visit justsaynow.com and donate to the Measure 13 campaign and donate your time phone banking to pass medical marijuana in the state of South Dakota. Oregon's Measure 74 has a new radio ad featuring a medical marijuana patient, Alice Ivany, a medical marijuana patient in the state of Oregon and one of the co-petitioners of Measure 74, speaks out on the ad.
I was never the type to use marijuana. Then an industrial accident claimed my left arm. I suffer severe chronic pain. My doctor recommended medical marijuana for my pain. I was grateful because under Oregon law, I could use it legally. But for a year and a half, I couldn't find any medical marijuana. I was too embarrassed and afraid to even look for it. Finally, I was able to try it. It worked. It turned down the volume of my pain and restored the quality of my life. Measure 74 gives all patients like me a safe way to get medical marijuana when our doctors recommend it. 74 creates clinics like pharmacies where patients can get medical marijuana. No more waiting, no more risk. We can regulate medical marijuana like any other medicine. No one should have to go through what I did. My name is Alice Ivany, and I ask you to please vote yes on Measure 74.
The Measure 74 ad is running throughout the state of Oregon, and for millions of medical marijuana patients across the country, this is the scary and unfortunate reality that you are diagnosed with some terrible terminal illness or suffer some terrible accident causing you severe pain, and yet you have nowhere to turn to gather your medical marijuana, nowhere to get your medicine. Measure 74 would license dispensaries in the state. They would be tightly regulated and have a supply system already in in place through licensed producers who would also be subject to inspections. It's the best of all possible worlds for medical marijuana patients in the Beaver State, and we encourage everyone to check out the Measure 74 campaign. You can go to justsaynow.com to get involved with donations or donating your time in phone banking, and you can check out the Measure 74 website at yes474.com. That's YESFOR74.com. All right, folks, time to take a break, and I don't know if you can see me running around in here, but it is hard doing this job without Carrie and John. Too many buttons to push. Be right back after this.
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support NORML Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would send you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
NORML Show Live reminds you to never consent to a search. If you're holding and you consent, in most states you will be arrested immediately and you will go to jail. If you don't consent to a search, police may try to intimidate you by threatening to bring in drug-sniffing dogs or try to fool you by saying things will go easier if you consent. Yeah, easier for them, sure. Stand your ground, refuse the search, and ask the officer if you're free to go. If they still detain you and eventually find your contraband, you'll be no more busted than if you had allowed the search. But by refusing the search, your attorney has a chance to win your acquittal before a judge. If you consent to the search, your attorney's hands are tied. You can find a list of NORML Legal Committee attorneys specializing in marijuana cases by visiting the Find a Lawyer link at norml.org.
I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I approve this message.
California's Prop 19 will legalize marijuana, but Dragonfly De La Luz thinks it's a bad idea.
Prop 19 is bad.
Freeing 2.9 million California cannabis consumers from police detention is bad.
We can already carry 1 ounce.
If you're willing to pay a $100 fine and deal with the cops.
We are not in a crisis situation regarding cannabis in California.
Tell that to the tens of thousands of California cannabis consumers arrested or ticketed for marijuana.
A vote no says that you refuse to remain a criminal under legalization.
A criminal under legalization? George Orwell would be proud. Dragonfly De La Luz wants you to vote to remain a criminal, accept tickets for your personal marijuana use, and risk felony arrest for growing a single pot plant in your closet. Dragonfly De La Luz. Bad for cannabis consumers, bad for California. Vote yes on Prop 19. Legal marijuana. No tickets. No grow felonies. No doctor's notes.
Paid for by the Committee to Eradicate Annoying Insects.
It's time for your daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420 friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Today we bring you tunes for Groovin' Thursday. Our salute to all the dopest beats and killer rhymes that we find in the best of rap, hip-hop, soul, R&B, and funk. Brought to you by the John Doe Radio Show in Denver, Colorado. Accurate and informative marijuana reform news and entertainment. Available on the THC Media Network and JohnDoeRadio.com. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on NORML Show Live, send it to us at stash@norml.org. Now here's some more great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes.
John Doe Radio.
John Doe here with your Groovin' Thursday tune for NORML Show Live. Splinter is just a surf bum with a habit of making songs for the beach. Non-rap name is Chad Campbell, hailing from the big island of Hawaii. Chad started making music with Arena Productions a while back, and after a successful mixtape called Kona Mash, Pepper, who's with a label called Law Records, was kind enough to produce and distribute the first Splinter record named After Party. Since then, Chad has continued to make beach rap as a solo solo artist, adding 4 more albums to his catalog. Melding conscious lyrics, organic beats, and Hawaii's vibe, Splinta says he makes music for beach people and landlubbers alike. You can find a lot of his music online for free and on the Splinta Facebook page. I got this tune off the Law Records Summer Sampler CD, and you can sign up with Law Records to also get free stuff too. I've put the links for all the stuff I just chatted about online on the Normal Show blog. A great artist Splinta is if you're looking for something a little lighter on the rap and hip-hop side, but still has the talent and gusto to roll with some of the genre's best. It is Splinta, Let There Be Sound. I'm John Doe. Until we meet again, you have a stony time. See ya.
Yeah, I like that style better. It's all about improvement. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, keep going forward. I'm just a Dharma bum, arm low full of karma, head full of crazy on the way home. Something like dizzy, gotta fix up, look sharp. I done a lot of mischief, but I got a good heart. I got the book smarts, but I lack the common sense. If I reap what I sow, guess I had it coming. As I write, I'm quite the depressed, so not for what I lack, more for what I let go. I'm changing my actor, why? Because she said so. Who got that suit? Driving down a back road, forge a new path, gotta blaze a new trail. Order new maps, gotta chase a new grail. Brand new bag, operate on full sail. Saltwater Roosevelt, issuing a new deal. Splitting hairs, nah, I'm not gonna do it. Gonna sweep it into one pile and put a fire to it and laugh like a maniac when I strike the match. Lose all the negative chat, it's quite the catch. If the devil calls, and yeah, I'm psyched to scrap, cause I don't like, I jumped in the river of human experience. The current's swift, but there is no fear in this. This is life, I'm thankful for it. If you're feeling what I'm saying, I'm re-sing the chorus.
Let there be sound. There was sound.
There was sound.
Let there be light. There was light.
There was light.
Let there be drums. There was drums.
There was drums.
Let there be sound. Sound. Drums. There was sound.
There was sound. We could talk about my shortcomings all day, but of course that's only par for the course, yay. Let's get it out of the basement. No more strikeouts, I'm looking for the base hit. Looking for a great fit, a pair of new kicks with the steel toe strings, so I break through limits, yeah. I take a breath and smile, cause I just kissed God and she blessed the child. Like what, like this? Yo, I don't even sink down. I eat ass, air, and stare at pink clouds. I was close to the brink once, but I'm too smart to keep playing the idiot. Playing the fool man, Jack of Bedlam, madman savant. It's a fact I'm destined to improve, ain't no doubt about it. You can take it from my word, I'ma clean the town. I'm with a clear-headed flame, throwing all my demons flee. Misery's lost when she's lost her company. I said it once and I'll say it again. I'm climbing up the ladder till I'm making friends.
Look at the sound. There was sound.
Sound.
Let there be light.
Yeah.
There was light.
There was light.
Let there be drums. There was drums.
There was drums.
Let there be sound. Sound. Drums. There was sound.
There was sound. Yeah. I don't know about nothing at all.
copy of that song for your iPod? Check out the Daily Toker Tunes at the Stash blog by surfing to stash.normal.org and choosing Media and then Toker Tunes from the main menu.
In terms of legalization of drugs, I think that the battle, the war on drugs has been a utter failure. And I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws. The war on drugs has been a utter failure. Criminalize our marijuana laws. The war on drugs has been a utter failure. Criminalize our marijuana laws. The war on drugs has been a utter failure.
Normal Show Live, where we don't change our position on decriminalization in an election year.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527. Weed.
That's Hooey Valley, hooey-ha.
Weed.
Where any office boy or young mechanic.
Now it's time for a report from the epicenter of American cannabis culture with our Southern California correspondent. You know her from ComedyNation.com and her appearance as a finalist on Season 1 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. It's our friend, cannabis comedian and marijuana activist, the lovely and talented Terry Joyce.
Well, normally at this time we'd be going down to Southern California to speak with Terry Joyce, but I believe she is somewhere in Big Sky country right now. Terry, are you there?
I am here. I'm almost in Big Sky country. I'm actually in Kellogg, Idaho.
Kellogg, Idaho.
Today.
Oh, I've been to Kellogg, Idaho. I know all about it. It's not where you'll find Tony the Tiger.
No, this is true. I've been looking for him. It would be, yeah.
Yeah.
But I am going to be in Butte, Montana tonight at the Copper King Hotel and at a club called the Mine Shaft.
Oh, sounds like a gay bar, doesn't it?
It's what?
I said it sounds like a gay bar. Sorry.
I know. It does sound a little phallic. It's like the Mine Shaft.
Yeah.
It's the only gay bar in Butte.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not go there. So you're on tour? You're just touring right now? Is this the only stop in Montana?
Well, no. Actually, we're going to Kalispell after that. But I am on a special tour. It's the Atomic Comedy Festival, and there's 6 headliners that are touring together. So it's a really great show, and it's fun because I get to work with people that I normally wouldn't get to work with because usually we're the headliner. So we got Daniel Dugar, Alicia Wood, who's very funny, Jay Multiplier. It's a really fun group, so it's been a good tour. And I just want to give a little plug out there, because we are about to go to the ballot on November 2nd and vote in marijuana and legalize it. And I got a few shows coming up at the John Lovitz Comedy Club. We're doing the free speech show on a debate, yes or no, on 19th for the legalization of marijuana. That's the John Lovitz Comedy Club, the 27th to 10 o'clock show. So I just wanted to plug that out there.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, Terry, one of our subjects on the show today has been about women in cannabis. The NORML Women's Alliance and Pot Couture had a great photo shoot. It got picked up on Salon.com, and they're kind of, talking about that stiletto stoner phenomenon, the idea that young, successful, professional women have nothing to fear or hide in their responsible marijuana use. Tell us about, your experience as one of our, so-called stiletto stoners, a professional woman who uses cannabis, and why women are so important in this fight.
I think it's really interesting. There's a lot, and I say this all the time, there's a lot of very empowered women who support cannabis. And, you know, we just see that it really helps people. We believe that it's an asset to our community. And, you know, we're in for the fight. We know the good that marijuana can do. And, you know, it's like, you know, women that stop the alcohol or prohibition, you know, we're here again to do it for marijuana.
That's right.
And yeah. And marijuana is the female plant for the cannabis plant. So I always believe that there's a little bit of a correlation there.
I would say so too. All right. Well, you always bring us a great guest for our SoCal scene when we're talking, and you've got a guest today. So go ahead and tell us who we're talking to today.
I do have a really great guest, and it's really fun how I met him. I met him on Facebook. I included him on my Skype, and I kept accidentally calling him. So finally one day I said, "Hey, what do you do?" And he said, "I'm an artist." And he actually created the comic book for Henry Hemp. And right now he has
co-created.
He co-created, and
yes.
He also has his posters. There he is. He's already talking. His posters for the Buddha Fest that's happening down here in Los Angeles for the Jack Herer Awards. I'd like to welcome Mike Tucker to the show.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing today?
Hi, everybody. Terry, Russ, how is everyone doing? Let me just stress, I love women, I love cannabis, and I love stilettos.
Well, good that you're going to fit in this show just perfectly.
I applaud all that very well.
So you are the co-creator of the Henry Hemp comic book. Tell us about how you got that started.
Well, the Henry Hemp comic, The Adventures of Henry Hemp, was actually who's putting the comic out as Hunter Jackson, who formerly known as War, and he wrote and put it out, and I did inside art for it, and he did the cover, and we were collaborating with the Henry Hemp and the THCC people and all that, and that's one of the many things that I do for them lately. He's always, you know, asking me, you know, in emails, hey, can you do, you know, me as a on a poster for like me marching down Washington or something. So I do all these big crazy posters for Henry Hemp, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it's going on. So what I'm doing now currently has been like doing event posters that he's been like distributing out there to events like the Smoke Out, which was last weekend, and this coming weekend, the Buddha Fest.
Yeah, tell us about that Buddha Fest. What's happening this weekend, and where can people get involved with that?
Oh, I wish I had more information than I know about it, but I know it's coming this weekend. It's out there in California. They're also part of Med Mike and is doing the Jack Herer Awards. Mm-hmm. And it's a big, huge festival and event, and I wish I had more information on it than I did. But they just said, hey, you know, it's sort of a spiritual. It's a combination of fun and spirituality and cannabis, and a whole lots of people going to be down there, from what I do believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time. Terry, do you know more details on the Buddha Fest?
Well, yeah, it is happening in Los Angeles. The best way to find out about it is because, you know, we had Med Mike on a couple weeks ago. He is the producer, and you can find out about it at med.org, where the exact location is. But it is definitely a festival, and it is for the, you know, Jack Herer Awards. And it is a special year because, you know, Jack Herer did pass away, so it's in the celebration of his life, and they'll be giving, awarding people who are freedom fighters in the movement. And it's going to be, you know, it's going to be ongoing. So I always want to mention, I looked at one of Mike's pieces, if you can check it out online, and his piece looks very spiritual.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's beautiful, and it's beautiful. And I believe that, I don't know about other people who are listening, and a lot of people never think about this. They think that, oh yeah, when you smoke weed, you're just checking out and being, you know, eating Cheetos on a couch. But that's not really true for many people. It is a spiritual experience, and it does open up your mind to connecting to our higher self. And, you know, obviously there are Rastafarians, and there's been other religions, and there's been people who believe that marijuana is the tree of life. And I love that aspect because it is a plant, it does come from the earth, and I find it to be spiritual.
Absolutely. And we're getting some note here from our chat room. I love our chatters. They always get us the latest info. Apparently, you can go to adamil.com for information on the Buddha Fest. That's adamil.com. Now, back to Mike Tucker. You are an artist, obviously. Can you tell us a little bit about your history as an artist and why you feel so that you need to get involved with this movement?
I got involved very just kind of like accidentally kind of. I was doing posters and CD covers for many artists, and one of the artists that really got me started in this direction was Muck Sticky out of Memphis, Tennessee, which is where nearby where I live here in rural Tennessee. And he started contacting with other artists and other things and doing CDs, and then that's how I got contact with Henry Hemp, and then this kind of thing kind of blew up, and it's like I liked where it was going. I like the idea. I'm in Tennessee. We don't have anything like a medical marijuana sort of situation going on, and it's crazy that we don't. And I would like for us to have it, and the rest of the country to have it too.
Oh yeah, we've got great groups out there in Tennessee that are working on it. Tennessee NORML at tnnormal.org is a great place to start. I know you guys have had a bill a couple of times that has been pushed there to try to get medical marijuana in Tennessee.
Things got pushed, but then things got pushed away. So
okay.
Crazy
now,
list.
For the people in Tennessee, you're out there. You said you're living in rural Tennessee. Is there a lot of attention being paid to California's Prop 19 amongst Tennesseans?
We're kind of like we're sitting and waiting what happens. Whatever you guys do will affect what the rest of the country will do. And so it's a little, we're sort of like, holding on by our white knuckles to see what you guys end up doing.
Yeah, I think so. We're hearing that from a lot of people around the country that, they're just looking to see, what happens with California. And from that point, the other states will be able to start working on their own reforms in marijuana law.
Yeah.
Have you ever personally been affected by the prohibition of cannabis, been arrested or harassed?
No. Fortunately, I've never been prosecuted. When I was younger, I was much more daring than I am now. Pretty much now, I'm pretty much a law-abiding citizen and and is able for the cause and will love the ability to have medical marijuana on like you guys, having to worry about the criminal elements in any sort of way, I know my mother is suffering from osteoporosis. She could benefit from it right now. Her doctors even told her, what you really need. And so it's kind of like crazy because I see her in pain all the time, and the meds that she gives her, just does nothing but gets her sick.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of where my thing lies, and the art way I do. Let's help get aware of it in my own special way, and the only way I know how that I feel comfortable with, is getting the world excited about it in some strange way.
That story you tell about your mother and the osteoporosis, and the doctor says, well, what you need is medical marijuana. It's always so sad because I've heard that a few times from people. They say that their doctors kind of give them a wink and say, marijuana would help. But then where are those doctors when we need someone to protest or to lobby for getting the medical marijuana passed? It seems like they don't want to stand up for it.
They, are bogged down by all these drug companies that are pushing this stuff. They go to their offices. They push all their, the drugs. Every time I go to a doctor's office, there's one or two guys in suits with a case, soliciting his little product.
Yeah.
Which is just, who knows what's in it. You see the commercials, and 60% of that commercial is what disclaimers that you shouldn't do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, I want to make sure before we end up the interview here that if you've got a website or some other stuff you'd like to promote, you could tell our listeners how they could see some of your art.
TuckerMike.com is my main website. You can book me over at Tucker Mike. And my Twitter is at RevoluTuck. And you can see all my art and all my other podcasts and strange things that I do. One thing that I'd like to say is howdy everybody there at Madhouse Radio, madhouselive.com, and that's our little improvisational telephone comedy show that we do weekly, and we have fun doing that. And Hi Buddies, HiBuddies.com is a webcomic we have starting here in November, which is going to be a webcomic, a fun little webcomic, literally about cannabis.
Oh, that sounds awesome. And make sure when you get that ready, send me an email with some links, and we'll do some cross-posting on the Normal Stash blog, get you some more hits.
Yeah, sure will. Yeah,
all right.
Sure will, yeah.
Hey, Terry, before we let you go also, let me give you a chance to remind people where you're going to be at in Montana and what's coming up for the election time.
Well, I am going to be at the Mine Shaft again in Butte, Montana, at the Copper King Hotel. I will be at the John Lovitz Comedy Club with the Free Speech Show, Yes or No on 19 debate. Med Mike will also be speaking on that show as well. We have Sean Green, January Thomas, we have Johnny Dam, and Kay West. So it's and Bill Bronner. So that's going to be a stellar show. Also, want to give a little plug. Stay in touch with me on Facebook. I'm doing a really special show. It's so special on November 2nd and November 1st that I can't really announce who's going to be on the lineup or exactly where it is. It's one of those kind of things where you go, wow, that too. And it's all about marijuana too. So it's going to be having some pretty heavy hitters. So I'm excited about it. So keep in touch with me, and we will be disclosing it online where it's all going to happen at.
And I also have to ask both of you if you're going to get a chance to be at the wedding of the Hemps on 11/11/11.
Who knows? Maybe we will.
Who knows? Yeah.
All right. Well, Terry Joyce, thank you for joining us here for our Southern California scene, and Mike Tucker, thank you also for joining us here on Normal Show Live. We appreciate you for being here, and Terry, we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. We'll also get in touch with you for the election day. See if we can get you on the phone during election day for some returns. Thanks for everything, guys. All right, coming up on the show, we will be getting into the radical rant, so stay tuned. This is Normal Show Live.
Which of you are ready to admit to having used marijuana in the past? And they want us to go around and ask each of you. Senator Kerry, yes or no? Yes. Okay. Senator Edwards?
Yes.
Senator Lieberman?
I have a reputation for giving unpopular answers at Democratic debates. I never use marijuana. Sorry.
I think you'd probably be a lot cooler if you had, Senator.
Smoke a little pot, drink a little wine. Everything will be just fine. Smoke a little pot, drink a little wine. Everything will be just fine.
Hey man, why are those people laughing?
They're laughing because they're high.
They're high? What are they all high on?
They're high on THC.
Whoa, wait a minute. I thought THC was illegal. Can't you get busted and go to jail for being high on THC?
No, dumbass. THC, the hydrocomics.
Huh? The hydrocomics? What are the hydrocomics?
The hydrocomics are a group of comedians, musicians, and advocates for the legalization of medical marijuana.
What? Really?
I am not shitting you. Yeah, they're all about passing around love and laughter while spreading awareness about the legalization of medical marijuana and the reform of marijuana laws.
Wow. How do I get high on THC? I mean the hydrocomics.
All you have to do is go to their next gig and show your support for the legalization of medical marijuana and the reform of marijuana laws.
Oh yeah? I'm down. Where's the hydrocomics next show?
What am I, their mother? The Hydrocomics Legalized Laughter Tour will be at the Crossroads in Garwood, New Jersey on October 22nd. For more information or ticket sales, call the Crossroads at 908-518-0323. That's 908-518-0323. Or visit them on the web at xxroads.com. The Hydrocomics are proud to be sponsored by NORML, the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, and CMMNJ, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, New Jersey. Whoa, man, I just saw the Hydrocomics, and I'm fucking high!
The hydrocomics do not elicit or approve the use of any illegal drugs, and due to the content and nature of this show, the Hydrocomics Legalized Laughter Tour strongly advises all patrons not to carry or use any illegal substances on or around the premises.
You want answers? I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended the Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Radical Rant, and this one's going to get a little bit personal, and some folks may not like it, but hey, tough. It's my show. I'll do what I damn well please. I want to address a certain person who goes by the anonymous pseudonym Dragonfly de la Luz, Dragonfly of the Light, for those of us who know a little bit of Spanish. Now, Dragonfly de la Luz, you may realize, some of you out there may realize that she is one of the leading spokespeople of the Stoners Against Legalization. This young woman believes that the decriminalization of marijuana that Governor Schwarzenegger recently signed, that means that you have to have a $100 ticket if you're caught with marijuana, which means that there is still probable cause for police to harass you for marijuana, which means that if you grow a single pot plant in your closet, you can get a felony for that marijuana. She seems to think the status quo is just fine and that we shouldn't be voting against Prop 19. Now, I have brought up Dragonfly de la Luz many times on this show, and in particular, I've been attacking her crazy ideas and her twisted logic and some of her just flat-out lies about Prop 19 and what would happen under the measure. But up until this time, it's been a debate about the substance of her arguments, or the lack of substance of her arguments. But just recently, this debate kind of turned nasty, and while I know some people kind of espouse a turn the other cheek philosophy when it comes to these things, I learned my lesson from John Kerry and the Swift Boat veterans, and I have learned that you never let these things stand without responding. So I am going to respond a little bit. This has to do with a post that I put up and a radical rant that I did in video blog about Dragonfly de la Luz's opposition to Prop 19. And one small part of this was the fact that I had done some Googling on Dragonfly de la Luz. First of all, I had heard from Jody Emery of Cannabis Culture magazine, who had hired Dragonfly de la Luz to do some writing, that her real name was Stephanie Taylor. And I had also heard from other sources, including Chris Conrad and Jody Emery, that Stephanie Taylor, this person, was from Nashville, Tennessee. So I did a little bit of Googling, and I found a story from 2007, which predates any other internet footprints of Miss Dragonfly de la Luz. I found this picture, which on the right is of a woman named Stephanie Taylor from Middle Tennessee State University, who got into the news because she got into an altercation with a police officer. And the altercation was over a speeding ticket, and she refused to sign the speeding ticket. So in the video blog and on the blog post, I pointed out that it was quite ironic that somebody who would refuse to sign an infraction ticket and fight with a cop over it is telling us that we should accept an infraction ticket for marijuana. I then received a comment on the blog from, allegedly, Dragonfly de la Luz, saying that she is not that person. She is not that person. And let me go to my email here, because I did receive an email from Dragonfly, and it says, and by the way, this email wasn't just addressed to me personally, where, you know, if she really did truly have a problem, I could do something about it and make the correction. But it was made to my boss, Alan St. Pierre, to the head of the NORML Women's Alliance, Sabrina Fendrick, to the founder of NORML, Keith Stropp, to the deputy director of NORML, Paul Armentano, to a couple of the people who work at NORML, Eric and Ed, and as well to her, I guess her lawyer, Letitia Pepper or Jennifer Soares. And in this letter, she says, to the director of NORML, your employee Russ Belville is using the NORML Stash blog website to commit libel against me. In this blog post, Russ Belville wrongfully and incorrectly claims that the person pictured in the photo and referred to in the article he links to is me, when it absolutely is not. I demand that this blog post be removed immediately, and in its place that Belville post a public apology for this gross misrepresentation of my character. If this issue is not handled immediately, I will be forced to take legal action against NORML on Belville's behalf. Well, no, you wouldn't be taking action against NORML on my behalf. You'd be taking it on your behalf because of me. But, you know, let's not get into your understanding of the English language. That's a whole nother rant. So I did respond to this, and I did put up a correction on the blog. I added this picture that you're seeing up on the screen, that the Dragonfly de la Luz on the left is not the the Stephanie Taylor on the right, despite what you might claim is an incredible resemblance, the same shape of eyes, the same shape of face, the same prominent chin, the same full lips, etc. But I was willing to take her at her word and believe that it wasn't her, that it was just some amazing coincidence that Jody Emery and Chris Conrad would tell me that she's Stephanie Taylor from Nashville, Tennessee, and I would happen to find a Stephanie Taylor from Nashville, Tennessee who looks almost exactly like her. I'm willing to accept that, so I made the apology to Stephanie Taylor for besmirching her name. And in response to that, I also sent her an email telling her basically how I had made the mistake, because one, she doesn't identify herself or give any clues as to her background, and two, there was someone named Stephanie Taylor and all the Jody Emery and stuff that I just mentioned to you that led me to believe that these were the same person. So after I had sent that apology last night, I received this email that says, while it appears Russ Belville has respected my demand to publicly apologize and correct his libelous mistake, he has flagrantly carried on the same blatant lies in his video blog, so now I am forced to make the same demand. Remove the video blog that so grossly misrepresents my character immediately, lest I be forced to take legal action against NORML. Now, that's all well and good. I was just about to take down that video when I read the next paragraph. By the way, Russ, you are quite obviously not someone who strives to be accurate and not mislead, as evidenced by your decision to use the same blog to post a video featuring the same false and outrageous claims you make about me. If you indeed strove to be accurate, you would have removed the video when you wrote your original correction. Your journalistic credibility is further challenged by your shoddy detective work and subsequent absurd claim that the person in the photo is me in the first place. There are millions of obnoxious-looking, aging, bald, and unattractive males who bear quite a resemblance to you, yet one would be a fool to claim that they are you based on nothing more than a Google search and a shot in the dark. No hard feelings, though. Ah, okay. So we're going to go into the ad hominem mud pit, huh? Obnoxious-looking, aging, bald, and unattractive males like myself. Well, you know why, Dragonfly, nobody makes that mistake? Is because I don't hide behind a pseudonym. My life is an open book. You can Google Russ Belville and find out everything you'd ever want to know about me, my history, where I went to grade school, where I went to college, everything I have done in my life. You, madam, are a cipher. You are a mystery wrapped in an enigma, and you continue to hide behind a pseudonym in order to keep spreading your misrepresentations and lies. So, since we went there, I decided that I would do some other disclaimers to make sure that Dragonfly de la Luz doesn't think I'm confusing her with anyone else. I mean, first of all, let's point out that Dragonfly de la Luz is not Stephanie Taylor, the person on the right. She is definitely not that person. Also, Dragonfly de la Luz is not former NBA shooting guard Sam Cassell with hair extensions. No, she is not Sam Cassell with hair extensions. That is absolutely not true. And despite what some of you may think, Dragonfly de la Luz was not the inspiration for Bill Cosby's Mushmouth character on the Fat Albert comedy show. That is not Dragonfly de la Luz, so I hope everyone can understand that. Now, if anyone wants to ask why I'm taking this so personally, it has nothing to do with being called obnoxious, aging, bald, and unattractive. Gee, Dragonfly, you forgot fat, too. What I'm so offended by is that you think I should be a criminal, that you are confusing young and naive voters into voting against their own best interest. You, madam, are lying and twisting the words of Prop 19 to try to convince young people especially that they would be better off signing a $100 ticket, that they would be better off continuing to be criminals, continuing to have the probable cause of law enforcement to harass them, and to make sure sure that any of us that decide to grow a single pot plant in our closet gets a felony and goes to prison. That's why I am so offended. I'm willing to have an honest and reasonable debate with anybody out there, but you want to start sending me emails, calling me names, telling me I'm unattractive. If that's the way you want to play, by God, I'll play that way too, because you know what, Dragonfly Dealaloos? I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, and I'm a better writer than you. I'll take you on in any forum you want, written, spoken word, television. Bring it, girl. In fact, in our Toker Talk Radio next hour, give me a call here at 971-533-7111. Let's get this on the air. I'll let you talk. I won't cut you off. But you know what? You are full of it. And if this election is as close as I think it's going to be, and if this election manages to lose by 50,000 or less votes, it will be on your head. You will be the person to blame for all the people who get arrested, for all the people who continue to get tickets. I am tired of it. I am not putting up with it. I'm going to treat you just like I treat the drug czar. I'm going to treat you just like I treat all the other people who think that I should remain a criminal. And there's your radical rant for this Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us for the show. We'll be back in just a few minutes with your Toker Talk Radio. Stick around. And until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.